Hello everybody. So it's been a while since I made a addiction recovery playlist video. So I thought I would do that. It had been a while because the loved one in my life was in a relapse and I didn't know what to do about it. This is not the first person in my life who's had an addiction. If you watched my mental health origin story, you know that addiction runs in my family of origin. And that if you watched my video in the 2021 quotes, mortality and love, you'll know that a previous partner of mine passed away from an overdose of alcohol. So it's not my first time. The individual in my life, family, friend, acquaintance, deserves their anonymity, and they shall keep it. I won't explain my connection, just that I am a normie. I have my own addictive tendencies. I've had an eating disorder and I am a smoker. I tried switching to vapes to quit. Alcoholics try switching to beer from liquor to quit. It doesn't work. Abstinence is the only way to go when you are addicted. But I've never had a substance abuse problem other than nicotine. But I understand the physiology of it and somewhat the psychology of it, and how the psychology of it may be where it begins if you didn't accidentally manifest and stumble yourself into a lifestyle that has it in there. You just happened to try something when you were a teenager and it hit a mark you didn't know you had. You had a medical illness and they gave you medication and it hit a mark you didn't know you had. Or you grew up in a family of addicts and they had you introduced to drugs and alcohol before you were old enough to make choices of your own. And then eventually the physiology sets in. Whatever the circumstance that you were coping with, like I coped with my eating disorder through the circumstances and emotions. Your physiology takes over. And when the body screams, I'm hungry, we eat. When the body screams, I'm freezing, we put on something warm. When the body screams, I can't breathe, we give it oxygen. When the body itches, we scratch it, or we go mad. Our body takes over. And when you become addicted to the substance, your body takes over and the physiology overwhelms any psychological coping reason you started the thing to begin with. And that is why you will continue to do the thing despite reckless, detrimental consequences to yourself. It's because the physiologic addiction, the bodily need for the substance overwhelms. Like, we need to eat not to die. We need to breathe not to die. The addict feels that they need to use not to die. Not emotionally, not desirously, but physiologically feels the need that they need to use not to die. Regardless how they wound up in that circumstance, once they are a full-blown addict, that's where they're at. Managing being the family of is complicated. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do in previous relapses. I've managed to help others to help themselves into programs in the past. Because you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. No one can stop until they're ready. No one can make you stop anything you're doing until you're ready. If you don't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to do it. If you don't want to go on that diet, you're not going to do it. If you're not wanting to stop smoking, you're not going to do it. If you don't want to stop drinking coffee, you're not going to do it. No matter how much you may want to or should yourself, until you are absolutely actually ready to face that down and experience the discomfort. No one can make you, only you can. You have to be ready, and it's not going to be easy. All the resources in the world could be at your fingertips, but if you're not ready, you're not ready. The person has to be ready. So you can only help them to help themselves if and when they're ready. You can't chase them around and chase after them and try to nag them into recovery. That will only drive them farther away from you because they feel misunderstood and cornered, trapped, and that just drives up the anxiety and the emotions of the situation and drives up their desire to use. In this particular situation, we just ended up hauling them off to the hospital and dropping them off in the ER. And when they woke up and came home, we didn't know what position they would be in. And they were grateful. We were grateful, they were grateful. It could have gone any way, and I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. There is really no right thing to do without professional guidance and intervention. That is the right thing to do. But they were ready to change. And that was enough of a wake-up call to realize, oh my God, I'm back here again. I found myself here again. I never thought I'd find myself here again. And they re-enrolled in a rehab program. And they are back in recovery and have been for some time. This time I made sure to ask during the family session that though I will not undermine his recovery, her recovery, their recovery, and second guess and hover over and helicopter and treat them like a juvenile, treat them like they don't wholeheartedly mean it and want it and are trying to earn it, treat them, as I mentioned in the dealing with a loved one in the recovery process, everything in that video is still very true. But I wanted professional answers, input about what to do if a relapse should occur, because I was unwilling to go in unequipped this time. So with yourself and the recovered individual in the room and a professional in the room for addiction recovery, ask that question. While your loved one is in the right frame of mind, and the three of you agree ahead of time what will occur when a relapse happens, so that you don't find yourself at a loss. The agreement in my particular situation was that it can play out three ways. Leaves rehab, never picks up again, Not a problem, not a relapse. Stay the course of the previously mentioned video. Handling a loved one in recovery. 2. Brief relapse. Eventually. The silver cloud, pink fluffy cloud of recovery wanes off, life creeps in, things get busy and stressful and distracting, or enough time passes that they get too comfortable, too confident, too lax in their program, too confident in their own ability to stay away, in their own ability to handle the substance and not require it, among many other things, and they use. And they use very briefly. They themselves stop, themselves, admit to their group that they had a relapse. Honesty is how the problem stops and the program works. Brutal self-honesty. And they get back on all by themselves like a grown-up. It's okay to make mistakes. It's not easy. Recovery is not easy. And you don't shame or guilt or blame or get on their ass for it. Number 3, they relapse. Hardcore, full-on relapse. In this situation, you try to give them the resources again, the recovery programs, tell them to call their sponsors, do the basics. And if they are unwilling, drop them off at an emergency room, etc. And if they are unwilling to recover from this relapse, if this is not a relapse, if they're back out again, you need to set certain boundaries. Predetermine in that meeting what those boundaries are with your loved one when they're in their right mind. That if you should relapse for an extended period of time, this is what I will or will not tolerate. This is how long I will or will not tolerate it. This is what will happen. And know when to walk away. And take care of yourself. And hopefully, in my case, that will never come to pass. If you're dealing with a relapse, please seek out professional help and guidance and assistance. No matter how caring, loving, well-meaning we are not capable of dealing with this. We are just the loved ones of. We are not psychiatrists, we are not addiction therapists, we are not medical doctors. You can't cure a heart attack. You can't cure this either. All the love in the world, all the best intentions. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Seek out professional help and take care of yourself. Remain involved in your own program and supportive of theirs. Good morning. Goodbye. Hopefully this was helpful in some way to someone. You might want to check out my May blog link. It's also linked at the bottom of the video. It has NA, AA, Al-Anon links to how to find them in your area if you are not already connected. And if you're the family of, you need to have your own program. You really need to have your own program and your own support and your own life and your own recovery. Love you guys. Some voodoo stuff here. Have a good day. Bye, YouTube.